Hello everybody, my name is Nick and today I'll be doing an updated collection tour of my Pinguiculas for the month of October. And a couple things have changed since my last video. I repotted some of my pings into these 2.5-inch black pots. I got some new pings and I also redid the labels for some of them to show the species crosses instead of just the cultivar name. So yeah, without further ado, let's start off with this middle pings. So these are all Pinguicula gypsicola, which I have right here, and they're actually leaf pullings from this plant from when it was just coming out of its succulent phase into carnivorous phase, and they're growing out decently well. The two bigger ones were propagated in a mix of peat moss and stratum, while the tiny ones were propagated in, I think, pure peat moss and potentially also tree fern fiber, like 50-50. So it does seem like peat moss and stratum works the best for leaf pullings, at least in my care. But yeah, these are little gypsicola leaf pullings. Right behind that, we have Pinguicula ignota el lobo and Pinguicula morinensis, and this one's actually a leaf pulling from this plant. I only took one leaf pulling, so it struck and it turned into two, or if not even three, different morinensis. So this is gonna end up looking potentially like that inside this pot if I don't repot it. So yeah, these are growing out really nicely. You can really tell the difference in morphology in the leaf shape, even when they're this young, because the ignota el lobo, which is from a specific area in Mexico, versus the other ignotas, which are a lot more widespread. The el lobo has the characteristic round ignota leaf shape, while the morinensis looks a lot more, I'm not sure, squared off, like boxy. But yeah, those two are doing pretty well. I just moved all these leaf pullings out from the humidity tray, so I'm glad to see that they're doing well. This is Pinguicula alurciae by Metaphytica, and this was one leaf pulling as well, which split into 3 different plants. So really excited to see how these ones turn out, but they don't look like much right now. Right next to it, we have Pinguicula sunshine, which is alurciae by Metaphytica again, but this is a different cross. And as you know, seedlings have like the potentiality to all look different, so these ones turned out completely differently from this one. And sunshine is a in-house hybrid by California Carnivores, so it might not, or either California Carnivores or Rainbow Carnivorous plants, so it's also potential that the cross is not exactly alurciae by Metaphytica, but these will turn to become one of the cutest pings in my opinion. Right next to that, we have Pinguicula rotundifolia by Gracilis and Pinguicula alurciae Victoria. And these are honestly one of my favorite pings in my collection at the moment. I'm probably going to say that a lot in this video, by the way. But just, especially potted next to each other, the contrast between leaf shape and color is super nice, visually appealing. And I don't know, these are relatively small pings compared to the rest of my collection, and they'll stay that way. And I don't know about everybody else, but I tend to gravitate towards the smaller pings or smaller plants in general. And right behind that, staying on the same topic about small plants, is Pinguicula eucado 1713, which is like a clone of the wild collected eucado series. And next to that is Pinguicula accessoriana. This one is super nice, or both of them actually, but very round leaves and stout presence. Yeah, I really like the look of these two. Eucado has been a super slow grower for me though, so hopefully it picks up in speed. I haven't fed any of my Pinguicula, so that might be attributed partially to the slow speed and slow growth. But yeah, hopefully things will pick up soon. This ping is a cross, the same cross as this one. I'll talk about those a bit later. I'll talk about that one when I get to the other one. But yeah, so this is a no ID Pinguicula. It looks to be a Lauiana by Emerginato, or either one of the two. It's not too impressive in my opinion, but it is like one of my flattest pings. It stays super flat to the substrate, and the purple outline on the leaves honestly doesn't look too bad. So hopefully once this flowers, I'll be able to get a more accurate ID on it, but for now it's completely unknown. Right next to that is Pinguicula Ampadi, which is a wild collected Morinensis from, I believe, the Molongo region in Mexico. And D stands for like the 4th variety that was wild collected. So this one gets really dark purple leaves. It was dark, and then now it's actually becoming a little bit lighter. So I'm hoping that maybe I should move it, but hopefully it does darken up to have that really, really deep purple, even maroon shade. Right next to that is Pinguicula Johanna, which is Agnata by Debertiana. And this one, I think, might even be flowering right now for me, because it's just been catching all the bugs, or actually potentially like around like 60% in comparison to the rest of my collection. It's been just, all the flies just want to eat it, or want to land on it for some reason. But one of the most attractive species, and widespread for good reason, it's Agnata by Debertiana. I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, I just repotted this one too, and it hasn't lost or skipped a beat. So yeah, super cute plant. Right next to that is, actually I have the tag right here, Pinguicula Cetos. It's Elursiae by Morinensis, and this one's pretty big. I repotted it because it was taking over its previous pot, but it's even now taking over this 2.5-inch pot. So maybe I'll need to repot it again, but I don't know. I've also tried to propagate this a decent amount of times, but honestly, to not really any success, because I don't know why actually. This one has a pretty low strike rate for me, and yeah, I just hope that I get a flower out of it soon so I can potentially cross it with something. Right next to that is one of its close relatives, which is Pinguicula Pirouette. That's Agnata by the reverse of Cetos, so it would be Morinensis by Elursiae. And look at the ant. I don't know how the ant got onto the, yeah, but that's a gigantic ant, and it got onto the Pinguicula Pirouette. And it looks like it dissolved partially there, and then it moved, and then it's now sitting, like dissolving there. I know you can see like where it climbed up. So I don't know, that is a pretty grotesque sight if you ask me, but yeah, a gigantic ant has found this plant and decided to become its meal. Look at how much dew it's producing. Honestly, that might be why. This is probably one of my most nectar producing Pinguicula at the moment. That's quite impressive actually. Okay, but moving on is Pinguicula Agnata Redleaf, which is one of the parents of Pinguicula Pirouette. And this is a new plant in my collection. I really, really love the color and even like slight veination on each leaf. It's really attractive, and yeah, the crown of the plant is staying a bit green. I think that is just due to it's like still coloring up from when I got it shipped in, but hopefully it becomes super red. I am really looking forward to taking pullings and potentially making a cross with this one after it flowers, so I'm glad to have it in my collection. As you can see, the oblong leaf shape is, or circular kind of, is really prevalent in all the agnatas. But right next to those is Pinguicula Snow Queen, which is this variegated variety of Pinguicula. It has white borders around each leaf, which is a stable trait. It won't ever lose this. It doesn't keep this trait via leaf pulling though, which is what these two are. Morinensis, or Snow Queen is Morinensis variety caudata spec Guatemala, but yeah, leaf pullings of the Snow Queen will not end up variegated, and as I said, this one is the exact same thing as this one right here on the other side of my collection. And yeah, it's not getting too much attention because I don't know, it's not very impressive at the moment, but I'm still happy to have it nonetheless. Okay, so right here, this is a flower spike that it put out quite a bit ago, and it's still clinging on. So one thing about Pinguicula is that they have super lasting resistant flowers. They just basically last even sometimes up to a month in indoor cultivation. So it provides a lot of opportunity for pollination and or just like aesthetic viewing. This one, as I said in the beginning of the video, has split into two plants after it flowered. So I will have to divide and repot these soon, but honestly not in the near future. We'll see about this one though. Behind that is Pinguicula cyclosecta. Honestly, mine looks very unimpressive at the moment, but they'll turn this super nice, almost lavender shade throughout the entire plant, and they grow in like a complete nice circle, but mine is, again, kind of unimpressive at the moment. Behind that is Pinguicula lowiana by Emerginata. This is another one of my absolute favorites in my collection, not just at the moment, but overall. The purple edges on each leaf is super aesthetic with its formation and just how it grows. Contrasted by like the lemon color. I don't know. This is one of my absolute favorites in my collection. And yeah, I haven't actually propagated this or done anything with it yet, but I do hope to do something with it soon. And right here is Pinguicula pilosa. It stays pretty green, and it honestly, to me at least, looks like its name, so rather unimpressive. Moving on is Pinguicula Queen Cthulhu, and I have two of those, and I believe they're an in-house by California Carnivorous, and yeah, these are absolutely stunning. The color and just like their small compact rosette shape is amazing. I really like how this one is like kind of flatter to the substrate. This one might be just like sitting on a rock or something though, but yeah, they've both also caught flies recently. They've been like foodless for a while, so I'm glad they finally caught something to eat. Over here is Pinguicula Raspberry Blonde, which is known for its amazing blooms, but sadly mine has never flowered. I got it as a tiny baby though, maybe even like this size. So I'm really happy that it's grown out for me, and it's even starting to show some of that purple hue in the center, like right by the crown. So I'm really excited for this as it grows out in my collection. And yeah, I guess the final two plants in my collection would be Pinguicula Dragon and Pinguicula Gypsicola. Pinguicula Gypsicola we already saw earlier, but just another close-up of it, as it's got one of the craziest nectary glands of any ping in my opinion. It almost looks like a Drosera or Drosera. And yeah, I really love how like wild and tentacly it looks in my collection. I haven't repotted it yet, ever because I'm just scared to do anything to it, but it seems to be doing really well. And next to that is another new addition to my collection, and I guess the last pink to show you guys. And this is Pinguicula Dragon, which is an in-house by Houseplant. And it looks a lot like Gypsy Cola with its lanceolate leaf shape, but it doesn't have as much nectary glands, or they're not like as pronounced at all. But the leaves do have this extremely striking, vivid pink hue, a lot more than Gypsy Cola towards the ends, which just make it an extremely, extremely cool looking plant. And I've been getting a lot more into these lanceolate leaf Pinguiculas lately, so hopefully I can pick up a couple more for my collection in the near future. I also love the name of the cultivar. But yeah. So I think that just about wraps it up for my Pinguicula collection for this month of October 2024. And I hope everybody enjoyed me talking about my favorite plants to keep. And thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.